Okay, imagine this scenario. You're staring down a broken shelf, maybe, or, thinking about tackling that weekend DIY project.
Right, that moment of, uh-oh, what do I do now?
Exactly. But instead of worry, picture just rolling up your sleeves, feeling kind of curious, ready to try. That's really the spirit of popular mechanics, isn't it? Self-sufficiency, knowing stuff, and just having the guts to learn.
It really is. And that's what we want to give you with this deep dive, sort of a shortcut to feeling confident about tools. We're digging into a guide that claims to cover the most crucial tools you'll ever need.
Yeah, the idea is tangible confidence, right? So you can actually do something about those home repairs, the car stuff, like lawn care.
Precisely. Not just feel inspired, but actually equipped.
So the source today is Popular Mechanics, the Ultimate Toolbook, big title. And it promises the 100 tools you really need. That's quite a claim.
It is bold. But what's interesting is their focus. They're not trying to list every tool. It's about the core essentials, the stuff you'll use again and again.
So what gets left out then?
Well, they deliberately skip the really niche things like, specialized calculators for complex roof angles, or maybe some of those digital gadgets like laser measurers. Useful sometimes, maybe, but not fundamental.
Okay.
And no heavy-duty garage stuff like engine lifts or really specific automotive tools. It's strategic. Master the basics first.
That makes a lot of sense. Build the foundation. And speaking of foundations, the absolute starting point for any project has got to be safety.
Always.
Yep.
Non-negotiable.
So let's start there. The book talks about earmuffs first. What's the key thing about noise levels we need to understand?
The scary part is that hearing damage is permanent. But the good news is it's preventable. Basically, anything over 85 decibels starts doing damage over time.
85, okay.
And at 100 decibels, damage can happen in just 15 minutes.
Okay.
That's why you want earmuffs with a good noise reduction rating, NRR. Look for something in the 23 to 33 range.
NRR, got it.
But here's a catch. Things like safety glasses, even long hair, can actually break that seal around your ear.
Oh, right, affecting the real NRR you're getting.
Exactly. So they even suggest maybe looking at an arborist setup. The headband with muffs, face shield, hard hat, all integrated for really optimal protection.
Comprehensive. And tied to that, Popular Mechanics says the single most important tool isn't what you'd expect. It's safety glasses.
Absolutely. Your eyes are just irreplaceable. You need good coverage, high-impact plastic. And look for that ANSI standard Z87.1 2003.
Z87.1, what does that actually guarantee?
It means they're built to withstand impact, not just, regular plastic, plus UV protection. And anti-fog lenses are a huge help, too.
Definitely. Foggy glasses are the worst.
And a really practical tip, if you wear glasses already, get prescription safety glasses.
Yeah.
Seriously. Avoids that whole awkward double layer thing.
Yeah, good call. Okay, so we're protected. Now, power. Extension cords. Most of us just think about length, right? But there's more to it.
Oh, way more. Length is just one piece. First, indoor versus outdoor rating. Huge difference. Indoor cords just aren't built for the elements. They'll break down fast outside.
Heating to shocks or worse.
Right. But the big one is amperage rating, which ties into wire gauge and length. Lower gauge number means thicker wire.
Okay, so lower is better. Thicker.
Lower gauge, thicker wire means it can carry more current safely without overheating or dropping voltage. Using the wrong cord can actually damage your tool or start a fire.
So give us some rules of thumb.
Well, for high amperage tools, say over 50 feet away, you really want a heavy-duty 10-gauge cord, maybe 100 feet long. For maybe 50 feet and standard 15-amp tools, a 12-gauge is usually good.
And for shorter runs?
Closer in, like under 25 feet, a 14-gauge 15-amp cord will probably do the job just fine for most things.
Good specifics. It shows how even simple tools have important details. Now let's shift to some classic problem solvers. Duct tape, everyone knows it.
The universal fix-it, right? But the book makes a good point, referencing another article title. When duct tape just isn't enough, it's great for temporary fixes. Emphasis on temporary.
Not a long-term solution. Got it. How about the humble 5-gallon bucket?
Ah, the bucket. Way more than just a bucket. Tool tote, sure. Seat, yeah. Catch basin. Makeshift step stool, carefully.
Okay.
But they highlight this really clever use. Improvising a lubrication system for cutting concrete.
Wait, how?
You poke a small hole near the bottom, fill it with water. It creates this slow drip right onto the cut line, keeps the dust down, cools the blade, makes it last longer. Pretty ingenious.
That is clever. Low-tech cooling. Okay, sandpaper next. Seems simple, but there are different types.
Yeah, different grits, obviously, for coarse-to-fine sanding, but also different materials. Garnet is good for softwoods, silicon carbide for metal. ceramic tooth for stripping paint.
Hmm. Any clever tricks with it?
Actually, yeah. You can wrap a piece around a level to stop it from slipping on a smooth wall when you're marking a
Oh,
line.
nice. Okay, spray lube.
You need an assortment, really.
Yeah.
Something for penetrating rust, a general-purpose lubricant, and maybe a dry film lube that won't attract dust, like for drawer slides.
Good point. Screws. You mentioned something crucial about drywall screws earlier.
Yes, huge point. Drywall screws are only for drywall. They're brittle. Don't use them for woodworking or anything structural. They can snap.
Okay, so what should we use for wood?
Get specialty wood screws, trim screws, deck screws, general purpose ones. But the big recommendation, ditch the Phillips head whenever you can. Go for square drive or star drive like Torx.
Why the hate for Phillips?
They just strip so easily, especially with power drivers. Square and star drives give you way better torque, much less slipping or cam out. Saves a ton of frustration.
Definitely been there. Okay, last versatile essential, the flashlight. What should we look for?
Lumens are basically brightness, how much light it throws. You don't need crazy high lumens for everything, but more helps for detailed work or seeing far. Bulb type matters for battery life. LEDs are king. They sip power compared to old incandescent or xenon bulbs.
And the body?
Rugged aluminum is great if it might get wet or dropped, like for plumbing. Plastic is fine for general use.
Yeah.
And a neat DIY tip. Wrap some thick copper wire around the barrel, twist the end into a base, and boom, instant hands-free work light.
Simple, but effective. All right, let's move into building stuff. Precision and layout tools. First up, the carpenter's square, that classic L shape.
A total workhorse for centuries, especially for laying out rafters and stairs. Simple, accurate, it's got the long body, often with tables etched on it, and the shorter tongue. Perfect 90 degrees.
And you can add things to it.
Yeah, little adjustable stair buttons. They help you mark repeating angles or distances really accurately. When buying one, look for sturdy aluminum or steel etched markings, not printed because they wear off. And treat it well, a bad drop can knock it out of true.
Good advice. Okay, chalk line. Simple, but effective for long straight lines.
Super effective. Just hook the end, pull the string tight, snap it. Perfect straight line on drywall, long boards, whatever, little trick.
Yeah.
If you're working alone, you can cut a small notch in the wood or drywall edge to hook the end into.
Smart. Now, the combination square. You mentioned Leroy Starrett's invention from 1877. Why is the Start version, like the 435 series, considered the Rolls-Royce?
It's just beautifully made and incredibly versatile. You get the ruler, the sliding head for 90 and 45-degree marks, usually a centering head for finding the middle of round stock, and a protractor head. It's like 3 or 4 tools in one.
And the precision.
Comes from solid, build, and fine adjustments. The trick for max accuracy is to place your pencil point first, then slide the square head up to it gently before marking. Keeps the line perfect. And you can check its squareness, mark a line, flip it, mark again. The line should be parallel.
Great check. Okay, drywall square. Basically a big T-square.
Yeah, exactly. Usually a 48-inch blade, perfect for marking across a full sheet of drywall or plywood in one go. Makes crosscuts much faster and more accurate.
Now for some tech. The laser level. How has that changed things?
Oh, it makes leveling so much easier. It shoots a perfectly level red or green line across the wall or even around the room. Fantastic for installing chair rails, cabinets, hanging pictures.
And especially useful in older houses.
Definitely. Old houses are rarely perfectly level or plumb. A laser level helps you establish a true level reference line, a datum, to work from, ignoring the wonky walls or floors. The book mentions the Bosch GCL 2160 as a good, durable option.
Makes sense. And just the basic level, still essential, right?
Absolutely. You need multiple sizes, at least a 2-footer and a smaller 9-inch torpedo level for tighter spots. They double as straight edges too. And you use them for setting slopes, like for drain pipes. Plus, there are specialized ones like line levels for strings and post levels for fences.
And the plumb bob. Seems ancient, but still useful.
Ancient but ingenious. Pure gravity tech. It gives you a perfectly vertical line for marking walls, checking posts for plumb. The Craft Tool Professional Brass one is nice solid brass, replaceable seal tip, features to keep the string centered. Simple, foolproof.
Okay, layout done. Let's cut. The circular saw, you called it the engine of framing. Why is it so fundamental?
It's the power and speed. A good 13-15 amp circular saw with a standard 7¼ inch blade just tears through lumber. It turns big, awkward sheets and boards into usable pieces quickly and relatively accurately.
And it cuts more than just wood.
Oh yeah. With the right blade, a diamond blade, for example, you can cut concrete pavers, tile, backer board. Very versatile. Just make sure it feels good in your hand, and the depth and bevel adjustments are easy to use.
Right. And speaking of fundamentals, the claw hammer, its history goes way back.
Like 30,000 BC back.
Mm.
Stone tied to a stick. Now we have these, beefy, all-business California-style framing hammers.
Yeah.
Essential for driving nails and the claw for pulling them.
Any tricks with a hammer?
Fun tip.
Uh-huh.
You get a temporary rubber mallet. Jam a tennis ball into the hammerhead. Works in a pinch.
Huh. Okay, drywall tools. The drywall knife. Looks like a wide putty knife.
Similar, but more flexible. You use it first to embed the joint tape into the mud,
Yeah.
then for spreading progressively wider, thinner coats of drywall compound. That flexibility is key for getting a smooth, feathered edge.
And the drywall saw or jab saw looks like a dagger.
It basically is. Very aggressive teeth. You use it to punch through drywall and saw out openings for things like electrical boxes. You often back-cut saw from the inside out for a cleaner finish on the visible side.
Got it. For demolition, the gooseneck bar or wrecking bar?
Incredible prying power. That curved neck gives you huge leverage for pulling nails, prying boards apart. Usually has 2 different head types for lifting and pulling. Essential for tear-outs.
Hole saw for making big holes.
Exactly. Big, clean holes for pipes, wiring, recessed lights. You get different types: carbon steel for softer stuff like wood, bimetal for tougher materials, even light metal. Lennox bimetal saws get a shout-out for durability and easy size changes.
Reciprocating saw. The demolition king.
Totally indispensable for demolition. Aggressive, powerful back-and-forth cutting action. With the right blade wood, metal, bimetal, even diamond grit, it'll cut through almost anything. Walls, pipes, studs. Emergency responders use them too. Variable speed is a useful feature.
Sledgehammer. Brute force.
Brute force, yes, but also finesse sometimes. Breaking concrete, driving stakes, persuading stubborn things. An 8 or 10 pounder with a fiberglass handle is usually good for most people.
Snips, or aviation snips. For metal.
Yeah, for cutting sheet metal, aluminum, stainless steel, mild steel, you need good hand strength. Always wear gloves. Cut metal is incredibly sharp. Offset blades give you better leverage and keep your hand away from the edge.
Okay, back to assembly. Cordless drill, we covered its basics, but anything else?
Just reinforcing its use for driving screws, especially those square or Torx drives, and the hammer drill function for masonry is key. Right-angle drills are lifesavers in tight spots for cabinet installers or plumbers.
Clamps again. Bar clamp, good for panels. What about the C-clamp?
Simple. Classic design. That C-shape gives you focused pressure in a smaller area. Great for holding parts together while glue dries or securing things to a workbench. Again, industrial ones are forged steel. Homeowner ones often cast iron.
Any C-clamp tricks?
Yeah, you can use one to guide a handsaw for making a bevel cut, clamp a straight 2x4 at the angle you want in your workpiece, and run the saw against it.
Nice guide. Fast action clamp. Sounds quick.
They are often called trigger clamps or bar clamps with a pistol grip. Great for one-handed operation. You squeeze the trigger to tighten. Many can even reverse the heads to act as spreaders. Super handy.
Spring clamp. Like a giant clothespin.
Pretty much. Inexpensive. Great for quick, light-duty clamping in awkward spots where you only have one hand free. They don't apply huge pressure, and the opening is limited, but they're useful. Use bottle caps under the jaws to prevent marring delicate surfaces.
Miter saw or chop saw. We've mentioned its precision. Anything else?
Just that it's really a portable precision instrument. Big 12-inch sliding compound models handle large stock. Smaller ones are lighter for trim. Definitely get or build a stand for it. Makes it safer and way more accurate to use.
Pocket hole jig. What's the magic there?
It lets you make really strong joints quickly without waiting for glue. You drill a hole at a shallow angle into one piece, then drive a screw through that hole into the adjoining piece. The jig guides the special stepped drill bit perfectly.
Stepped drill bit.
Yeah, it drills the pocket hole and the pilot hole for the screw shank all in one go. Very efficient for cabinets, face frames, furniture.
Router. Hugely popular for woodworking.
Oh yeah, super versatile for making joints, decorative edges, trimming laminate. Horsepower matters, and look for one that accepts half-inch shank bits. They're beefier and vibrate less than a quarter-inch.
Fixed base or plunge base?
Both have uses. Fixed base is simpler for edge work. Plunge base lets you start cuts in the middle of wood, great for mortises. Best bet is often a kit with interchangeable bases.
Nail set for finishing nails.
Exactly. Lets you tap the nail head just below the wood surface without leaving a hammer mark. Essential for trim work. Use it after driving the nail most of the way with a hammer or even a nail gun. Good to have a set of a few different sizes.
Paint tools, again, paintbrush roller. Quality matters, we established that. Anything else?
Just reiterate, synthetic bristles for latex paint, natural for oil-based. Roller nap depends on surface texture, short for smooth, longer for rough. and clean them well. That freezer trick for short breaks is a lifesaver, though.
Tiny knife, different types.
Yeah, thinner, stiffer blades, maybe 1 inch wide, are good for scraping or applying glazing compound. Wider, more flexible blades, like 4 inch, are better for spreading wood filler or drywall mud smoothly. Look for high-carbon steel.
Pro tip for putty knives.
Don't use your finger to smooth wood filler. Use the knife for a flatter finish, and slip the blade behind trim when pulling a nail to protect the wall from the hammer claw.
Wood chisel. Needs to be sharp.
It needs to be razor sharp, and the back needs to be perfectly flat. That combination lets you slice wood fibers cleanly. Essential for tasks like mortising for hinges.
How do you mortise a hinge?
Okay, quick version. Trace the hinge. Score the outline deeply with a utility knife. Make a series of shallow cross-grain cuts inside the outline with a chisel, bevel down. Then hold the chisel flat, bevel up, and pare away the waste wood down to your score line. Takes practice. And keeping the chisel sharp, maybe with a honing guide, is crucial.
Great overview. Let's head outside. Landscaping, bow rake. What's it for?
That's the rugged one, with stiff tines, often with a curved bow connecting the head to the handle that acts like a shock absorber. It's for heavy-duty stuff, moving gravel, breaking up compacted soil, leveling ground for planting, not for delicate leaf raking.
Maintenance.
Hose it off after use, maybe a little WD-40 on the metal. Treat the wood handle with something like water seal occasionally.
Bow saw for pruning.
Yeah, good for branches, maybe up to 10 inches thick.
Yeah.
Very aggressive teeth, cuts fast on the pole stroke usually. Good for clearing brush or pruning larger limbs.
Proper pruning technique.
Important for tree health. Make an undercut first, a few inches out from the trunk, then a top cut just outside that, let the branch fall. Finally, make the clean cut just outside the branch collar, that swollen bit where the branch meets the trunk. Don't cut flush.
Chainsaw, we covered safety basics. Gas models preferred.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
For most jobs, gas offers more power and freedom than electric or battery. Engine size depends on the job, 30-40 cc for lighter work, 55-60 cc for bigger stuff. Again, safety gear chaps, ear muffs, eye pro, gloves, absolutely mandatory.
Lupper, like long-handled pruners.
Exactly. Gives you leverage for cutting branches maybe up to 1 inch or 2 thick. Stuff too big for hand pruners but too small for a saw. The curved blade helps make a clean cut.
And pruners themselves, 2 types.
Right. Bypass pruners have a blade that sweeps past a hook, best for live. Greenwood makes a clean cut. Anvil pruners have a blade that closes onto a flat surface, better for tough deadwood.
Pickaxe, for really tough ground.
Yeah, specifically for breaking up hard, rocky soil, where a shovel just bounces off. The railroad pick style, with 1 pointed end and 1 chisel end, is common. Specialized tool, but invaluable when you need it.
Post hole digger. Pretty self-explanatory.
Does what it says. Digs narrow, deep holes for fence posts, deck footings. The clamshell type is common. The Seymour S500 Industrial Hercules gets mentioned as a durable model.
Square nose shovel. Not for digging.
Right, it's more for scooping and moving loose material, gravel, sand, mulch. Also great for leveling areas for patios or walkways where scraping surfaces clean, and good for consolidating concrete in forms.
Back-saving tip.
When digging a hole that needs a flat bottom, use the square nose shovel for the final leveling instead of trying to flatten it with a pointed digging shovel. Saves your back.
Wheelbarrow. Ancient invention, still essential.
Absolutely. Simple machine, but indispensable for moving heavy or bulky stuff around the yard or job site. Apparently, Thomas Jefferson even made notes on improving its design, shows its timeless utility.
Okay, final stretch, mechanical and electrical tools. Adjustable wrench. We know it adjusts, but why is it key?
That versatility again. Handles lots of different nut and bolt sizes, metric and imperial. A 10 or 14-inch one is great for basic plumbing repairs around the house. Saves carrying a full set of fixed wrenches sometimes.
Allen wrench or hex key. Common for bikes, furniture.
Yep, that L-shaped hexagonal tool. Used everywhere. Bikes, motorcycles, assemble it yourself, furniture, machinery. They're small and easy to lose, so storage solutions are important. Fold-up sets, T-handle sets, ratcheting versions.
Angle grinder. What's this used for?
Very versatile for metalwork, cutting metal stock, grinding weld smooth, polishing, even sharpening blades. But also great for hardscaping. Put a diamond wheel on it and it cuts brick, stone pavers, tile. Powerful tool.
Ball peen hammer. Different from a claw hammer.
Yeah, instead of a claw, it has a rounded peen end. That's for shaping metal, peening rivets, rounding edges, forming curves in sheet metal. The flat face is for striking chisels or punches, things you shouldn't hit with the hardened face of a regular hammer. Can be hard-faced or soft-faced.
Center punch. For starting drill holes.
Primarily, yeah. Makes a small indent in metal so your drill bit doesn't wander when you start drilling. But also used for marking layout lines or even tightening loose riveted handles by expanding the rivet slightly. Some are spring-loaded now, easy to use one-handed.
Cold chisel for metal, not wood.
Right. Stout, tough chisel for cutting or shearing off waste metal like cutting rusted bolts or chipping concrete. The cutting angle is less sharp than a wood chisel, but much stronger. Good to have a set and use those plastic safety sleeves or holders.
Die. Goes in the tap.
Exactly. A tap cuts internal threads, like in the nut. A die cuts or cleans up external threads, like on a bolt or pipe. Great for rescuing fasteners with damaged or rusty threads.
Drill bits. Different types matter.
Oh yes. Basic high-speed steel, HSS bits, are fine for wood and plastics. Titanium nitride-coated bits last longer, especially in harder materials or things that generate heat. Cobalt bits are for really tough stuff like stainless steel. Best to buy specialty bits individually as needed.
Sharpening old bits.
You can. A little bench grinder jig or something like a drill doctor can put a fresh edge on dull bits. Saves money.
Fish tape for wiring.
Yeah, for pulling wires or cables through walls or conduit. It's a long, flat, springy steel tape. To push it through, attach the wire and pull it back. Can be tricky sometimes.
Clever alternative.
For long conduit runs, tie a string to a small sponge ball or piece of plastic bag. Stick it in one end of the conduit, use a shop vacuum on the other end to suck the string through, then use the string to pull the wire.
That's smart. Hacksaw for metal.
Yep. Fine-tooth blade designed for cutting metal iron, steel, aluminum, brass, hard plastics. You can even get carbide grit rod saw blades for cutting ceramic tile.
Hacksaw for a hacksaw.
If you need to cut in a really tight space, you can sometimes take the blade out and grip it carefully with locking pliers to make the cut.
Machinist vise, like extra hands.
Exactly. An extra set of really strong hands bolted to your workbench. Holds your workpiece securely while you drill, file, saw, whatever. Can be stationary or swivel. Cast iron is common. Forged steel is tougher. Look for pipe jaws underneath the main jaws if you work with pipe.
Using it with wood.
Definitely use wood pads or even just scraps of wood between the metal jaws in your workpiece to prevent leaving marks.
Metal file. Different cuts.
Two basic types. Single cut has parallel teeth, good for smoothing and sharpening. Double cut has teeth in a crisscross pattern, removes the material faster. Then you have different tooth coarseness: coarse, bastard, second cut, smooth.
Which one to start with?
A bastard file is a good all-around choice, medium coarseness. Technique matters. Apply pressure only on the forward stroke, lift slightly on the return. Use a file card, a stiff wire brush to clean metal filings out of the teeth.
Multi-bit screwdriver. Convenient?
Super convenient. One handle, multiple bits stored inside. Great for a kitchen drawer, toolbox, camping kit, bike bag. Magnetized tips are really helpful for starting screws or fishing dropped ones out. Some have fancy bit-changing mechanisms.
Needle nose pliers. For delicate work.
Yeah, that long, tapered shape is perfect for reaching into tight spots, grabbing small things like drop screws inside electronics, bending wire loops for electrical connections, cutting small gauge wire. Good to have a couple pairs, maybe one with bent tips.
Pipe and tubing cutter. Better than a hacksaw for pipe.
For thin-walled metal tubing like copper pipe. Absolutely. It makes a much cleaner, perfectly perpendicular cut with no burrs. Essential for getting good solder joints in plumbing. Compact size is great for tight spaces. Different cutters for different materials like plastic pipe.
Pipe wrench. The plumber's friend.
Indispensable for gripping round pipes and fittings. That self-tightening jaw design invented by Daniel Stilson really bites in. Important. You have to turn it in the direction indicated by the arrow or the way the jaws face, so it bites harder as you turn.
Other uses.
Surprisingly good for grabbing really stubborn, rounded-off nuts or bolts. And great for demolition work, too, twisting pipes apart. There's even a DIY trick using rope and a metal bar to make an improvised one.
Side-cutting pliers or lineman pliers for electrical.
The classic electrician's tool, used for cutting wire, gripping and twisting wires together, pulling staples. Some have crimpers built in, too. Important safety note. Those plastic grips are for comfort, not insulation. Don't rely on them to protect you from shock on live circuits.
Pocket wrench. Why so good?
Speed and leverage. Plus, it grips the entire fastener head, reducing the chance of stripping it compared to an open-end wrench. The ratchet mechanism lets you tighten or loosen quickly without removing the tool. Quality matters here. Those internal gears take a lot of force. Buy decent ones like Snap-on or Craftsman.
Soldering torch. For pipes.
Mostly for sweating copper pipes together, yeah, but also useful for jewelry making, crafts, even caramelizing sugar on creme brulee. Look for self-lighting ones with swirl combustion for a hotter, more efficient flame.
Sweating a pipe step by step.
Okay, quick rundown. Clean the pipe end and inside the fitting thoroughly with sandpaper or a fitting brush until shiny copper. Apply flux to both parts. Assemble. Heat the fitting, not the pipe directly, until the solder melts instantly when touched to the joint. Let it cool undisturbed. Wipe off excess flux. Practice makes perfect.
Tap goes with the die.
Right. Tap cuts internal threads, die cuts external, used for creating new threads in a hole or cleaning up existing ones. The Norseman Drill and Tool Magnum Super Premium Tap Drill set gets a nod for aerospace quality, probably overkill for most, but shows quality exists.
Tongue and groove pliers, channel lock. We talked about the brand. What's the key?
That brilliant undercut tongue and groove designed by Howard Manning. It lets the jaws lock securely in multiple positions without slipping, giving you a powerful grip on various shapes and sizes. That's why they're everywhere. Plumbing, auto repair, farms, homes.
Last one, wire stripper or electrician's multi-tool. Why so vital?
Because clean, undamaged wire connections are crucial for electrical safety and function. This tool strips insulation perfectly without nicking the copper strands, which can cause overheating or breaks. Plus, they often cut common electrical screws to lengths and crimp terminals, fundamental for any wiring job.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of tools. Let's see them in action. The book features a farmhouse table project. How does that showcase some of these tools?
It's a great example because it shows you can build something substantial and good-looking using basic construction lumber and standard hardware. It focuses on forgiving joints, like cross slabs.
How do you make those?
You use your circular saw to make a series of parallel cuts to the right depth, then clean out the waste between the cuts with a wood chisel. Simple, strong joinery. Then you use pocket screws drilled at that pocket hole jig, and maybe some dowels for hidden sturdy connections.
And finishing?
You can go rustic or polished, lots of sanding, maybe a pre-stain conditioner to prevent blotching on pine, then thin coats of stain or paint, and a protective top coat like wax or polyurethane.
Nice. Another project, wiring a light switch. Seems simple, but safety first, right?
Absolutely critical. Step 1, always, turn off the correct circuit breaker. Step 2, use a non-contact voltage tester to confirm the power is off in that box. Wave it near the wires. If it beeps or lights up, stop. Power's still on. Double check, especially in older homes.
Okay, power confirmed off. What next?
Loosen the screws on the old switch, pull it out carefully, clean out the electrical box if it's dusty, then prepare the wires, clip the old ends if they're nicked, strip about ½ inch of fresh insulation off to expose clean, shiny copper.
Why pristine wire?
Damaged wire is a fire hazard. It creates resistance, heat. You need a clean connection. Then use your wire stripper or needle nose pliers to bend a clockwise hook on the end of each copper wire.
Clockwise hook.
Yeah, so when you tighten the terminal screw, which also tightens clockwise, it pulls the hook tighter around the screw, ensuring a really solid connection. Attach the wires, usually power wires, to brass screws, ground wire to the green screw. Make sure the switch is oriented correctly, usually on is up.
And that electrical tape tip.
Optional, but good practice in metal boxes, especially older ones. Wrap a layer or two of electrical tape around the body of the switch, covering the terminal screws. Just adds an extra layer of protection against accidental shorts if a wire came loose inside the box.
Crucially, when do you not do this yourself?
If you open that box and see anything scary, burned wires, frayed insulation, evidence of past meltdowns, really shoddy old wiring, just stop. Close it up carefully and call a licensed electrician. Some problems need a pro.
Good advice. Knowing limits is key. Last project example, building a patio. Lots of tools involved here.
Oh yeah, it brings a bunch together. You use batter boards and mason string with a line level for the layout, a square nose shovel for excavating the base, a long 4-foot level to check that the base layers are flat and sloped correctly for drainage.
What about compacting the base?
A hand tamper for smaller areas, or better yet, rent a vibratory plate compactor for a really solid, stable base. Use screed boards, long, straight 2x4s, to level the gravel and sand layers precisely.
And setting the pavers.
A concrete float, or a rubber dead blow mallet, helps level the stones or pavers as you set them. Need to cut some. That's where the circular saw with a diamond masonry blade comes in handy. Finally, sweep sand into the joints with an exterior broom and maybe use a garden edger to finish the edges. Each step relies on the right tool for a good result.
That really illustrates how these tools work together. So we've gone through safety gear, layout tools, cutting, shaping, joining, outdoor work, mechanical tasks. It really drives home how having the right tools and knowing how to use them builds serious confidence.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
You start looking at problems differently.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh no, that's broken, it becomes, okay, what tool do I need? How can I fix this? You move from worrying to actually doing.
It's empowering. You've seen how these tools let you fix, build, create. But here's a final thought to chew on. What's the next level? Beyond just knowing what a tool does, what if you really start understanding why it's designed that way, or why that specific angle on a chisel, or the metallurgy of a wrench? How might that deeper understanding change how you approach problems, maybe even problems outside the workshop entirely?